make things shake. You know I gets that money,
all day.
that cake, I gets that bread. You know I make things shake. You know I gets that money, that cake, I gets that bread.
I'm back in the building.
You know I get that money.
Put a little dirty South swag up in there. You know what it is.
I handle myself, but when I'm like angry, I don't even pop off at the mouth. I just go silent. And I know that's not a mature way to handle things. And then when I just try to articulate myself, it's kind of like I'm not verbalizing what I want to say in the feminine way where I can kind of get my needs met. I guess I would say.
Yep, I like that. And I love that you noticed that that is a part of being feminine, is being able to articulate what you feel, because emotion-wise, we're more intuitive, we're more in tune with our feelings. So to genuinely, live in that female space, you should be able to articulate what you feel, because we feel a lot. Who else?
I'll go.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm on here because I've never been feminine. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm 39. I'm a mother of 7. I was married for about 10 years, with him on and off for 23. And I definitely didn't practice any type of femininity while I was with him, because I had to be the disciplinarian, head of the household. I'm raising boys, so I'm having to, be a certain type of way towards them. I'm still raising boys, so I feel like I still have to be a certain way towards them.
Right.
I've never even felt feminine.
Got you. And I love what you shared. Like, we're going to talk about it. It's so important that y'all understand where you come from as far as like your life experiences, so you could know, how I got where I'm at. Who else?
I'll go. I'm here basically because I wasn't raised by feminine women. To be honest, femininity is a concept or something I just learned about a year ago.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just feel like I wasn't really taught how to be a woman or the power of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of just taught, make sure you take care of yourself so you don't have to depend on nobody else.
Right. And that is a very independent upbringing. Right. And I love what she's sharing, because a lot of us, we were raised as young women in a way that pushed us towards independence and away from the concept of knowing our role in a family unit. So a lot of us, we don't have the traits of a woman that a grown, mature man that's ready to lead can get with and have room to be any sort of leadership role in our life, because we kind of take the lead on everything. So I like that like I said to the person earlier, where you got that from. Who else?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
I'm right now going through the process of a divorce, been with him for over 30 years, and doing therapy and realizing now, I thought we getting divorced because of all his issues. He got issues. And if he just do what I say, then everything gonna be all right.
Yep.
And then going through therapy, realizing, oh, okay, I'm the problem, because I couldn't even have a conversation. I didn't even know how to have a conversation without hearing him if he was disagreeing with me.
Right.
And the minute he started disagreeing, I started yapping off at the mouth, because it's like, no, that ain't the way it should be.
I love that I'm going to tell you, I love that you did therapy and you got an understanding of your issues, because exactly what you said at first, this is where most women are with their understanding of their previous relationships. They may not have been married, but they genuinely are like programmed mentally to believe that it's all the dude's fault. If he would just do what I'm telling him to do, things would work out just fine. Or if he would have just done things the way I felt like, or the way that I view the world and how relationships should work, we would have been fine. And it's so far from reality. I love that you did that time in therapy and got that kind of initial wake up of what the fuck is really going on.
Yes.
Who else?
For me, love, I just want to be more in touch with my true essence, my creativity, my sensuality. I don't have any children, and right now I'm at the stage where I do want a husband, I do want children, and I just want to be in the right energy to attract a man, like you said, that leads and I just don't want to be like, just, like masculine. I just want to be in that space where I can do it not to specifically attract a man, but do it for myself first, and making sure that I have things in my environment that I know that can help me be sensual, and make sure I protect that, and then make sure that whoever I attract into my life, they see me as something that they want to protect as well.
Right. I love it. And I'm going to tell you this. A lot of women think that having babies makes them feminine or more in tune with being a woman. But if you understand what's happening, like in this day and age and where we come from. So, for example, right at the end of the 60s, when that introduction to welfare programs for low income households and people that are on the lower financial spectrum, if you will, when that stuff became introduced and it broke up the concept of family being valued, especially in the black community, we end up replacing like fathers with welfare programs. From that era forward, women have become more masculine when it comes to having children. So a lot of women, if you go back before the 60s, a lot of times having a child helped you get more in tune with your feminine energy. But nowadays, when you take away the whole family structure and you have women that are just excited, so to speak, about having babies by themselves, it makes them so tough, and they don't realize it, and tough in ways that they're not supposed to be. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining?
Yes.
Anybody got any questions on what I just explained? And then when you fast forward, when you look at a lot of what's happening with governmental agendas, where you see celebrities and people of high influence pushing this feminist movement, where it is like almost the promotion of having a baby by yourself. All it do is make you strong as fuck, to the point where, like a lot of us in this Zoom, you're trying to figure out how to tap back into just being a woman. Because you had to go through all these hormonal changes, grow a child inside of you while working, while fending for yourself, push the baby out, get right back to work, got to worry about bills, damn near got to ignore your mental health because life goes on. You got to be strong. There is no help. And then we all cheering each other on to do this shit as if it's some sort of wonderful journey. So it's important that a lot of us realize, like, for example, the young lady that doesn't have any children, and for people like me that have daughters, it's important that we stop the generational curses and create an entirely different narrative where these women coming up under us understand you want support, you want help, you want to be in a dependent state when you're growing a life inside of you, not some overly independent state where you have to damn near suck your feelings deep into you and just operate like you some sort of man or robot to get this shit done for the sake of being a mom. It's not natural. Who else?
I'll go.
Go ahead, honey.
So I think that I operate in the femininity state. However, I don't have men approach me. And I don't know if it's because of possibly my job. I'm pretty successful.
Okay.
I don't know. I basically want to get some more tools to put in my toolbox to be able to maybe display a softer thing. So I know I'm kind of cute.
So I love what Sheila's saying, because we got to understand, and I talked about this in one of my Zooms. There was a young lady in the Zoom, and she was she had good energy, but she was struggling with balancing that feminine and masculine shit she was taught, right? That was just outside of just naturally being a woman. And we spoke to her about how she comes off, right? So whenever I talk about the topic of femininity, one of the first things I'm going to ask y'all to do is ask a male in your life to be brutally honest with you and ask them, how do you come off? That's the first thing I want y'all to take from this Zoom. Ask them how you come off. Because here's what a lot of us don't realize, right? We have these testimonies about, all of these terrible experiences with relationships. And we don't realize exactly what Sheila said, how your exterior is. And I'm not just talking about your looks. When I say how your exterior is, how approachable you do or don't look, it determines what type of men will actually get at you. So for a lot of females that like the resting bitch face, the daily attitudes, the stern, stone, hard demeanor. And I'm not talking about how you look. I'm talking about the attitude that you give off. You only gonna get a certain type of rough or manipulative dude to approach you. Because the men that are looking for females that already know how to operate as a woman and they don't have to coach you into it, they're not coming up to somebody looking like they fucking having a terrible day every day or looking like they don't want to be bothered. Anybody got any questions on this? And some of us, we were raised to believe that this was appropriate. Like we were raised, you went 15, 16 years watching your mama have this attitude that just sits on her everywhere she goes, and you don't even really see a soft side. So then you're thinking this is appropriate, and it's so not if you're trying to attract someone from a healthy space. People that are successful, especially when we talk about men that are successful, they have goals and they believe they have some sort of purpose over their life. They are not looking to go find women that look like a project. Like I look like I got to go force her or make her or jump through 90 hoops just to get her to be pleasant. Anybody got any questions on this? Who else? What has you on the subject of, let me check where I'm at with my femininity?
For me, I have 2 daughters, and now I'm realizing that I'm not feminine. I thought I was. My mom was mixed, but then I realized like my background was, she was still an independent woman, saying the same thing Liz's mom was saying, like, make sure you can take care of yourself, like, so you don't have to depend on anybody.
Yep.
So now I'm realizing that I'm not feminine, and I have 2 girls, and I'm like, I need to fix them.
Yes. Let me know, for those of y'all that do have children, how many of you went through the tough stuff in your pregnancy alone? And by alone, I mean the person you made them with was not there with you to like help experience or support you through it. Not talking about other women, because this is, and I'm being very clear with my question. I'm not talking about support from other women, because this is almost like a manipulative tactic we use to get women to make the same mistake that we made. We will come together as these little female communities and support a woman through the idea of having a child and being a single mom, but we won't come together and support a woman through the concept of having a family and a husband and, working through conflict and problems. So who did not have that from a male?
Do you mean like physically or mentally? I'm sorry.
Both. So let me put it to you like this. To experience childbirth, right, from a very balanced and healthy space, you need the support of the person that you made the child with, or some sort of masculine figure to help you through it. We all know you can have children. You don't have to have it. But I'm talking about what is healthy, to where you don't come out with this warped mindset that all of this shit is supposed to be handled by a female, and then you teach this shit to generations under you. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining?
Yes, I went through my last pregnancy by myself, like financial support from women either, but both grandmothers, they were there to.
I don't want to hear about women. I don't want to hear about women.
Yeah.
Like a lot, and I'm saying this on purpose because if y'all real with yourselves, grandmothers and mothers, they be jumping in because they be knowing damn well half the shit we be doing, we got it from them. So it's a space of, I gotta help her because I instilled this type of movement in her. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining?
Yes.
You know how your kids, for those of y'all with children, or maybe you've experienced this as the child with your parents. Your parents come running to your rescue because they know the bullshit you got yourself into, you got it from them. From whatever they didn't give you during your upbringing, or whatever they failed to teach you, or whatever they did not show you through action. They are quick to see you through it because they know they're part of the problem. Is there anybody that has experienced a childbirth where they got full male support all the way through? I'm not talking about finances. I'm talking about that support where I am being supported like I was supposed to.
I did for some of mine. Yes.
Describe it. Because some of these women, they didn't experience it. So describe it. You found out you were pregnant. He was excited about it.
Yes. And I'm going to talk about my older children.
Okay.
We were married for some of my children. And, you know, we were in the house together. You know, we had, I was pregnant. He was there for me emotionally, physically. Of course, during the time of having a child, he was there. He was there the whole time during the childbirth, bringing the child home.
How was the pregnancy experience? Like just that moment of my water breaking, I'm going to the hospital, we about to have a baby. Both people are excited about it.
Yes, my water never did break, but we were. I mean, yes, we were both excited about it. It was just like, love, I can't even explain it.
Do y'all do? And I want y'all to know this. Do you see the energy coming off of her? You can see it when she's describing this, right?
Yes,
when we have, go ahead, baby, go ahead.
And I didn't. And I know this is crazy to say. All of my children are by the same guy. But he was there for some of them, and there for some, you know, for some of them, and some of them he wasn't.
So and
my older children, he wasn't there because we were very young.
Right.
As we got older and we got married, he was there for the rest of them.
So now, as a woman experienced with childbirth, if I was a younger sibling or a younger girl that asked you what's the difference, what would you tell me? What's the difference from having a baby with a spouse that is there with you and having one where you by your damn self, pretty much mentally and emotionally?
This is support, and you know, being able to. I was able to get that time away. I was, you know, from my child. The difference to me was the support, and being able to, you know, raise the children together instead of alone.
What I want to know as a woman, what I'm asking is, anybody that has a similar experience, feel free to chime in. I'm saying, if I am a younger woman and you are trying to advise me, should I do it with or without my guy? What would you suggest and why?
Kids need both parents, for one.
But we ain't even got to the kids part yet. I'm just on because we talking about femininity, right? We ain't talking about parenting, right? I'm talking about, for me as a young woman, is it like, what? Give me your advice on, should I have it with a male involved or just do it by myself?
Definitely need to do it with the male involved.
Why? So I'll help you out, right? So when I talk to younger women, right, that experience when you have a male there, especially the male that you made the child with, the emotional strain is way less. The worry and that feeling of being alone, that worry about, am I going to be good enough when it comes to parenting my child, especially if it's your first one. It's a totally different dynamic. And so if someone younger than me were to ask, I would say, for the sake of your mental health and you staying in your feminine role as a woman, meaning you continuing to be a woman all through the first experiences of having a small child, it is extremely important for it to turn out positive for you to have that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would agree.
Anybody else had the experience of having their child with the male or a male involved?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, this is Tyreka. So I have two children by the same father, and I can say he was there. He was not there at the same time. And my oldest daughter is 10. My youngest son is getting ready to be 4 at the end of next month. However, I think he wasn't involved because we were younger. And he had the mindset of, a street nigga, not gonna lie. And he had other little bitches, not gonna lie, excuse my language. And, when it came out that I was pregnant, it was, I wasn't messing with her, whatever the case may be. But it's like, we are, we laid up together every night, whatever the case may be. But then you're out in the streets running around as if you and I aren't together. Granted, fine. So I became pregnant, 24. He didn't want the child. I still went through with my pregnancy. He has came around to be a great father to our first daughter. Which
so pause. Pause, and I want y'all to understand this, right? I like when she said he has came around to be a great father, right? I like that part. We're in this Zoom talking about our femininity as women. So for her child and for her co-parenting and creating a good product with the child, that is wonderful. Go back to what you had to go through when you were pregnant, right?
Yes.
I want you to give me, from your perspective, what did that do to you? Things are better now, but what did it do to you?
It hurt me.
In what ways?
He wasn't available. He wasn't there. He wasn't there.
What I'm asking, what did it do? Okay, so I'll give you an example. Sometimes I do one-on-ones with women, and they have just recently had a baby, just fresh baby, father not around, right? And I asked them to describe what's the difference in you now than before you had this baby, because they just had the baby, and they noticed I have mood swings. I'm depressed. I get agitated easily. I feel that life is unfair. What did it do to you? Because this is the shit that presses against us just being a pleasant, feminine woman. What did it do to you? Like, what was the you? If we met you before you had that baby and had that experience with him, what's the difference in you then and you now?
Then I didn't understand my self-worth. I didn't know who I was. I felt less of a woman, less of a person. I felt
no, I'm not talking. Listen, I'm not talking about when you let him do what he was doing. Before you ever met that man, and then after you had that experience with your child and birthing your child and the stuff you went through with the cheating and the lies, what is the difference in your character?
I feel like I'm hard, I'm cold, I'm aggressive, I'm masculine.
There you go. Can anybody else relate? I want to know if y'all recognize the difference in yourself after sitting through shit like this. And then I'm saying this because then we encourage other women to go do the same shit that made us hard and defensive and masculine and tough and overly independent. And then we say, oh girl, I had my baby by myself. You can have your baby by yourself. And we leave out the part where, yeah, I had it by myself. Yeah, the co-parenting eventually got better, but it fucked me up. It fucks me up. I don't know how to be soft. I don't know how to let my guard down. I don't let a man come over here and just take care of things. I am worried often about being lied to, cheated on, tried, tricked, taken advantage of. I wonder if people are being genuine. Sometimes I'm fucking depressed about this concept of relationships, watching people get married and go on trips and all kind of shit. And I'm sitting in this. Yeah, the co-parenting got better. Yep, kids need both parents. Yeah, I got that shit figured out. But now let's talk about me. I'm not pleasant. You catch me at the gas station, I'm pumping my gas with a motherfucking unit on my face because a nigga done did me wrong. We leave all this out and we say, girl, have your baby child. You don't need that man. I had mines like that. We're leaving out the real shit that goes along with. I wouldn't recommend that shit to nobody. Nobody. I would recommend going on a self-care journey and figuring out your standards and boundaries and being able to build yourself up to where you have enough feminine energy to walk away from a nigga that's not masculine and leading. Who else can relate to what she described about herself as far as the difference between before and after?
I can. I have 3 kids. The first 2, he was there. The last one, he was not. He was physically there, but mentally he was not there. And it messed me up in the fact that I could not trust. I could not let him do anything because I couldn't trust it. I just couldn't. And so now the effect of that is I don't trust nobody. It's like, okay, you say you're going to do that, but are you really going to do that? So let me go and check it. And are you doing it my way? Because if you're doing it my way, it didn't get done right. And I still got to check it. And it's like, I can't let it go. It's like I can't trust without controlling it.
Yep. There go that control. There is that word trust. How many of y'all realized I lost my patience? Like I lost my, like being lied to so much, and I waited thinking it wasn't a lie or hoping that it wasn't a lie, and things never got done. So now if you put a grown man in front of me that has every intentions on getting certain things done that he said, I don't have the patience to wait to see if he'll do it. I'm too high strung and PTSD behind a motherfucker having me wait for fucking months and it turned out to be a lie. Who can relate?
Yes, I can relate.
Yes.
But I done it to myself because I shouldn't have even been waiting on anybody to do that in the first place.
But a lot of us, we were deprived of this type of teaching in our upbringing, right? Because it had somebody given us the talk that we're having right now, there's a lot of things you wouldn't have done or you wouldn't have been okay with, or your self-esteem would have been in a different space. And see, here is one of our biggest issues. Like somebody was just saying earlier, we go through stuff like this, we learn from it. We build our self-esteem up to where we rightfully are more of a mature woman, but we also equate the lesson hand in hand with being independent and hard. So we think that once we do figure out our value as a woman, we can't drop the toughness off to just be a feminine woman. For those of y'all that's struggling with trust, get this book. So this is the title, and I'm going to hold the author up. Everybody see the title? And now, and screenshot it. Somebody type it in the chat for everybody. But this is the author. This is the title. I'll put it up again. Title. This will teach you the solid shit you need to know about trusting. And I'll show the photo of the author as well.
Hey, love.
Yep.
Can that also show up as extreme neediness?
Say that again.
Can that also show up as, being overly needy?
Yep. Some of us go to one extreme to the next. So I'm going to tell y'all, we're going to talk about femininity, right? And when I talk about femininity, most people, their mind go to, okay, I'm masculine, right? If she's talking about teaching femininity and this is, appealing to me, I must be masculine. There are a lot of us that our femininity has went so far the other way that we are a victim or we use it as a manipulation tool. So, for example, the concept of being in tune with your emotions and feeling and being compassionate and empathetic, right? These things go along with being feminine. And so does the concept of crying. That's why just on a general stereotypical level, there's the concept that men don't cry or aren't supposed to. And that is a womanly thing, right? You fast forward and look at what's going on. A lot of us will cry as a manipulation tool. I know women that they sit on one-on-ones and tell me, and bitch, I started crying. I ain't give a fuck about that nigga anyway, but I started crying to make him feel like X, Y, and Z, because bitch, I felt like X, Y, and Z. And so it becomes I'm taking my emotions and using them bitches as bullets. Go ahead, Nicole. What you said?
Okay, so.
Oh my God, my dogs. Be quiet. Be quiet.
I had to go check.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
I can hear
say
you.
this. I'm really sensitive, and so I've gotten so much. Where like if I'm in a conversation or I feel some type of way, I'll articulate that I need to walk away from the conversation for a bit just to gather my.
Okay.
But where I find the problem is sometimes whoever I'm talking to will kind of like group me in the same sense of like women who have manipulated or use that tactic, and I purposely like will articulate like, give me a second, or feeling my emotions like more people like.
Yep, because
so
I love what you're saying, and for those of y'all, because my dog's barking, for those of y'all that didn't hear her, She's saying, I maturely articulate that I need a minute. Like, I need a minute. I need to process my feelings. Give me a second. A lot of men are used to women doing that as a way to just not be accountable. To not be accountable. To get out of accountability, we act like we're just so overwhelmed with emotion and feeling. So to get off of the subject or get up out of there and let it die down and hopefully he'll forget and don't come back to it, this is what we do. So this is when I talk about using that femininity as a manipulation tool. And Nicole, that's something that you're up against because a lot of females do it nowadays.
I agree. And I feel like what kind of like got me to being overly sensitive, just like I grew up in a 2-parent home, and I both of my parents were emotionally, physically, like they were intact. And I grew up seeing my mom, like, who was like a feminine woman, like she just like on point. But she passed away when I was 19. Like whatever I learned from her was up till like for a 19-year-old, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand.
So, like, kind of navigating how to just be a woman in her 30s is, like, very difficult. So, also, like, with my dad, he was kind of hard. So, sometimes when I feel like I'm in conversation, it's kind of, like, trying to find that balance.
Right.
And, like, not really understanding, like, I never really seen my parent, like, I probably seen my parents, like, argue maybe once or, like, pretty good with like making grown-up conversations and like anything else that we needed to know, we would know.
Right.
But that's where I'm like finding like the difficulty of like navigating how to like, should I be reacting like this? Should I not? Like, is this okay? Like,
so
that
I'm going to tell you, and we're going to talk about it. The idea is once you learn a lot of the things that I teach, you are then now putting yourself on the next level to where you won't be able to build a relationship with somebody that's not mature in these areas as well, because they will see your maturity as some sort of negative thing. So, for example, it sounds like you're dating down, Nicole. And what I mean by that is your emotional maturity or your mature communication is not being understood by the men that you're choosing to entertain, because they're viewing it from a space of this is manipulative, because their past, they deal with women that is how they operate. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I totally understand. And I somewhat agree with you too. I thought that, and I'm like, no, I'm like, try to be positive about certain people. They're on their own path. And I've noticed, like, just from the last person that I used to talk to, I would like suggest therapy for both of us. And it's funny because when we stop communicating and being involved with one another, he goes to seek therapy. And I'm like, well, I'm not on the same level you are right now anymore.
Right.
So
You're dating down mentally.
Yeah, I could see that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, can we just go over the whole, like the definition of femininity?
Listen, I got you covered. It's coming. It's coming.
I don't even know what it means. Okay?
It's all of that's coming. And I want to tell y'all, right? So when we talk about like choosing a partner, because once you get this information that I'm about to give y'all in this Zoom, you now have a responsibility to yourself to not mentally screw yourself over by trying to proceed forward in your feminine with men that they don't see the value in that, because their history has them still attracted to, their upbringing has them programmed to be okay with women that match their masculine. So basically the same thing I was telling Nicole. Once we finish this Zoom, you now have a responsibility to make sure whoever you're trying to build a relationship with, they understand where you're going with yourself and they have that masculine energy to match your femininity. Because when you date down, and I'm gonna break it down, when you date down, you're signing up for problems, and it's not going to balance itself out until the person gets to your level when it comes to this type of shit. So for me, on just the surface level, when we talk about picking a healthy partner, if you have your basics together, the person that you're taking serious or entertaining in an adult relationship should have their basics together. And if they do not, You should not be mixing on a serious note. You can date, you can have your flings, you can create a consistent friendship, but you should not be solidly trying to mix anything until that other person has their basics together. So now when we talk about basics, this is feeding myself, clothing myself, transportation for myself, creating some sort of consistent income to where I have a stable grip on the responsibilities that I fucked and made. These are the basic things that make you an adult. Anybody got any questions on the basics? So when we talk about choosing a partner, if I am a grown adult and I have my basics together, this is what makes me an adult, right? Age don't make you an adult. An adult is having a grip on the things that I just named. So let's say you meet a guy or a girl and you're like, okay, I'm attracted to them. Okay, we like one another. If they don't have their basics together, you are not a healthy adult if you go try to mix your life with them people and make a relationship now be more of a priority than them getting their basics together. Anybody got any questions on understanding this? And if you've done it in the past, you were dead wrong. They were wrong and you were wrong as well.
Right.
Can you say the last part again?
So
that you just said.
To be an adult, male or female, you need to have a grip on handling the responsibilities that you fucked and made, transporting yourself around. I don't care if you don't have a car. Rather you Uber and Lyft everywhere or take a bus or whatever, you are responsible for the financial obligations to get yourself around. When it comes to food and shelter, clothes on your back, the basic necessities, if you don't have these things together, you don't have your basics together. If you don't have your basics together, no one should be somewhere trying to make you prioritize a relationship. So in your past, if you have gotten with somebody that does not have their basics together and then try to build some sort of relationship with them where it is you trying to mix your shit with their shit when they don't even have their individual shit together, you dead ass wrong. Anybody got any questions on understanding that?
I mean, I've dealt with that kind of situations before, and I wasn't trying to build anything with them, but they were mad because I do have my stuff together as far as my basics. They didn't, and I was trying to tell them, hey, listen, wait a minute, you ain't trying to do too much.
And I like what you're saying, because here's what I don't want y'all to misunderstand. You can be a friend to someone and help them during their time of need, or help them as someone that already has their shit together. Where it becomes manipulation and where it becomes wrong and where it becomes a play for you to try to get what you want out of them in the end is when you start trying to mix y'all lives together and turn this into a relationship when as an individual, they don't even have that taken care of yet. It's wrong. You're not a good friend if you and I are talking, and we can talk. We could even fuck if we want to, but it becomes a different level of you're not operating as a good person if you then try to take me and I don't got a car, I don't got a stable place to stay, I don't have these things going on, and you try to make me then let you give me all this shit, like you do all the adult things that I'm supposed to be doing for myself, and then say because you did that, we're now supposed to be in this relationship. It is manipulation, and this is why a lot of us end up getting our own head knocked off, because once the person stabilizes and gets themselves together, and then they start to view you from the eyes of an adult, you may not be what they want, and then you upset because you gave and showed and proved in all these areas. It's not healthy.
And we shouldn't even be sleeping with them either because it turned into problems. Many problems.
In a very basic nutshell, it needs to be understood. If an individual doesn't have themselves together as an adult, you look crazy trying to make them prioritize a relationship when they're still trying to learn how to prioritize adult activities, i.e. the basics. Anybody got any questions on understanding that? We don't know how to be friends to one another or just a social support without mixing with people doing shit and then thinking in the end they owe us some sort of long-term commitment from that. It turns your good deeds into like a transaction.
Love, I had a situation like that, but the situation that I've been in, like I said, the guys were, they were trying to force relationships with me. It wasn't that I was trying to force anything with them.
Here's what you got to understand. I'm glad you're saying this, because that's why I said earlier there is fault on both parts. Because here's what y'all got to understand, right? As the adult that has their basics together, you bear more of the responsibility because you're more mature, clearly. And I don't mean just mature overall. I mean the season you're in your life, you're stable and you're more mature in that aspect. So when you take someone that I am in what's called survival mode, because that's what it is when you don't have your basics together. People in survival mode, you cannot ask them to operate at a mature, responsible thinking level when they're trying to survive. So what I mean by that is, if you go up to a homeless person that's filtering through the garbage can trying to find their next meal, and you start talking about mature and responsible things like, hey, it is not healthy to eat out of the trash can. Hey, there are germs in there. Hey, you need to take more of a look at your hygiene. These people trying to motherfucking survive. So if they eating out of garbage cans or trying to manipulate you into letting me come stay with you as a man because I just got out of prison, I don't got shit else going on. Yep, baby, I love you. Yep, I want to be with you. Yep, one day I see myself married. You gonna let me move in? The idea is I'm in survival mode, bitch. This is what people in survival mode do. You'll be a fool to stand there, and we do this a lot. Well, love, he was trying to move in with me, and he was asking me for the stuff. Do you understand the other person is the weaker being in this season of their life? Y'all understand what I'm explaining?
Yes.
Don't yes. Be a good person and don't manipulate me out of my money if you're not trying to be with me and this motherfucker trying to survive. Y'all understand the common sense behind what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's important that before we even get into the femininity part, right? As a mature woman that I am now an adult, I provide my own transportation. I house myself. I feed myself. I give the basic care for the children or responsibilities that I fucked and made or created through my past choices. As a being that takes care of this stuff, I have my basics together, right? With my basics together, when I go to choose someone to try to do this relationship stuff with, they need to at least have that, or we need to remain friends until they get that together. Anybody got any questions on that?